Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Cohen, and I am going to be your instructor for this computer-mediated communication and professional identity class, which is a mouthful and definitely not the title of the class I would have given it, but here we are. And I'll try to explain a little bit about like my interpretation of what that means as we go through the syllabus. And that's going to be our task for today. One little caveat I did want to like sort of let you know this. So I'm filming this like literally the day before classes start. And I have taught this class before. I've actually taught this class several times before. It was developed by somebody else, and then they left the university, and I got the opportunity to teach it, which I'm happy about because I have enjoyed it. But the thing about, being a media professor is like this happens all the time. Like things become dated so quickly. I had like a really nice class set up, but it doesn't take long before readings about any sort of computer mediated communication or social media becomes a little bit stale, and before like other things come up. And also like in my own research, I've started doing a little bit more with things like social identity theory and some of the things we're going to talk about. So yeah, 3 weeks ago, I'm just like, it'd be great. I can't wait to like revamp this class, and I've, so many ideas, and this is going to be such a good idea. And I'm not saying it was a bad idea, but the night before classes start, it's feeling like less spectacular because I'm still not exactly finished with it. I do have a syllabus, and I have all the readings and like all of the lesson plans for things that we're going to do, but it's going to be kind of a week by week thing, possibly for the next week or two until I like get everything up and running. So I appreciate your patience with that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now so that we can kind of go through the syllabus together. Here we go. Okay, so that's my name. That's my office. Okay, yeah, let's just start there. So those of you who have already had me before know that really like the best way to, like, in my opinion, the best way to have office hours in classes like this is on the phone. That said, you're completely welcome to come to my office hours, but I'm really flexible. If you ever want to set up an appointment, just email me and like I can set up an appointment anytime. The reason I don't like office hours is because um, if everybody shows up to office hours, then like people have to wait and everybody's coming at the same time. And it's just much easier if you know ahead of time that you want to talk or something for us to just set up an appointment. It doesn't have to be phone, it could be Zoom or whatever. So just know like that's really the best option. Send me an email and be like, hey, could we set up a time to talk in the next day or two? And I'll be like, yep. I mean, it has never happened that I haven't been able to do that. So please just feel free to reach out. So what is this class? Yeah, it took some guesswork when I first started teaching it myself. Now, I will say, I mentioned I was like, I would not have named this class computer mediated communication anything. I hate it. It's a very sort of COMM centric term, like within the field. Like I know what computer mediated communication is, but I don't think most people do. It's just kind of awkward. To me, computer mediated communication just means social media. So when I design a class, I normally will just say social media instead of computer mediated communication. But okay, whatever. I mean, it does count any sort of like technologically mediated communication. So yeah, computers count too, I guess, but I think it's a little overcomplicated. I feel the same way about the idea of professional identity. The word professional kind of like icks me out a little bit, and it whatever, you can guess why, but it'll come into play at the end of the semester. But I probably would have called it like social media, like branding and organizations or something like that. Because as you'll see, and I'll just go ahead and scroll down here, at the end of the syllabus, like normal, there's this nice little isn't it beautiful, so many colors. There's this nice little schedule for you to sort of look at the topics and everything that's going to be covered each week. And one of the things you'll see comes up a lot is like branding, brands, personal brands, and that's not to say this is a class entirely about branding, but that is a big part of it. My goal, I've sort of divided it into three different parts where the first part, we're just going to be talking about your identity. We're going to be doing identity work of just sort of like, okay, well, what are your identities and how do they sort of like merge together, and how do other people maybe impose identities on you? And then doing some work about thinking about like how you develop these identities and how they're fluid and where they're going. And it's not even going to have like a social media component at the beginning. The second part, I just want to talk about branding in general, and then how people engage in like personal branding online. And then it's like the third unit is going to kind of merge those different things a little bit. And you're going to be thinking more specifically about, now that you've done some thinking about your identity, your organization's identity, all those things, you're going to be thinking about the things you want to express or maybe don't want to express through different communication channels. And then at the very end, I'm going to tell you why I actually don't do a lot of that stuff myself. Well, I don't know if I'll tell you, but you'll read between the lines. So we're going to have a more critical perspective on the whole self-branding thing. So that's what this class is. I mean, I don't, that wasn't a great, like, one sentence summary, I know, but hopefully that gives you an idea of like, what the general goals are in the class. Now, I do want to say, and I really want to highlight this, this is not like a how-to class. It's not going to be a thing where you submit, your social media pages and I critique them based on how good you're branding or how successful. Like it's not like that at all. This is more of a how to think about doing class. It's more of a get you practiced thinking about who you are, what your goals are, either professional goals or personal, in terms of like how that manifests with what you do or don't do in online context. By the way, this is eggnog. Sorry, he's like a little bit, you can go on the floor. And oh, sorry, the cat just made the words go right out of my head. Yeah, so bottom line is, if you're concerned, if you have any reservations, like you don't want to give your personal information over to social media companies, I don't want you to do that either. There is a assignment in the class that will require you to look at what some other people are doing on social media. But how you do that is going to be up to you. There's no demands about actual posting or content creation or anything like that. Because again, we all have varying levels of comfort with that. This is more of a, hey, if you wanted to do some stuff, here are some things that you should consider type of class. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that allays any fears that some of you might have. And I know some of you are probably like disappointed, like, darn it, I wanted you to fix my LinkedIn page. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to be this place. So, okay. Oh, required materials and readings. There is a book for this class, and I'm really sorry because this is not in the bookstore, but please don't freak out. I want you to look at how thin this book is. And the reason I'm pointing that out is twofold. One is because you can't really charge a ton of money for this. Should only be like $10 to $15 on Amazon, probably. It shouldn't be a huge financial burden. And also you don't need it immediately. So if you're like, I just bought all my books and I didn't know this crazy lady was going to have me like buy this book. And I am sorry for that. Again, really, I have only started recently revamping and prepping this class. So I didn't know until recently that I was going to assign this, and I apologize for that. What this is, by the way, it's not a normal textbook. It's more of a workbook. Like, can you see in here? Like it asks you questions and then you like sort of like fill in your answer. That said, this is not a workbook that I'm going to have you turn in. It's more of some things I want you to do like self-guided. Like when I went through this, I just kind of read it and I thought some things to myself. Like I went through the mental activity of it. I did jot some notes down and everything, but this isn't like an assignment that you're going to turn into me. That said, you will need this because some of the things that you do in here are going to be directly relevant to some reflections that you're going to need to do, and also paper assignment that you're going to need to do, short paper. So you do need to get this. You probably won't need it for 4 to 6 weeks. You can look on the syllabus and see how long it is. But for 2 weeks, we're going to be going through it. So do try to get your hands on a copy of this. But again, it's so thin. It's so thin. Other readings. So, I mentioned, for those of you who were in my social marketing class, I have it right here. you had like a big old textbook and we just like focused on the textbook the whole time. This is a whole different bag. You do have readings each week, and some of them are, how do I put this, kind of dense. That like I really wanted us to engage with some of the actual research on some of these topics, things like identity. Like I wanted you to get some experience reading the academic scholarship on it. But sometimes I'm just like I even assigned a Wikipedia entry. I just want you to get like the general gist of what something is. We don't need to get in the weeds with it. And so one of the important things I want to sort of warn you about is like, I think the amount of time that you're reading is going to take each week is going to kind of vary. So I just want you to be aware of that. Now, I'm structuring this class in terms of modules, like units. So I'll release like 3 weeks under one module at a time. So hopefully you can kind of spread out the readings to sort of like, if you don't have a lot of time one week, maybe you're not going to do any readings, but then the next week you have like a heavier load and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know why I'm a little self-conscious about it. I guess it's just, again, when you have like a textbook, it's like, you kind of know that like all the chapters are about the same length and, you know, the writing's all the same. And one of my goals in this class was to sort of engage us with a lot of different types of writing on these different topics. So, that's what I did. So all of these readings, now some of them are hyperlinked here if you like click in the hyperlinks, but even if they're not even if they are hyperlinked, if they're not, for sure, I'm going to post them on eCampus so they'll be available in those modules and stuff like that. So basically you'll get this workbook and then everything else you should be able to find on eCampus, and what you can't, even some of the things you find on eCampus you can probably link to online. So lots of options. On that note, you need internet access for this class because it's an online class, but I won't say so much about that. I already went through the whole thing about social network sites. Again, I'm not making a requirement that you join any social network site, but again, fair warning, in order to do some of the assignments, you might have to be able to log into some account in order to see other things going on. And sorry for that, but it is a social media class, so we have to do something. Contacting me, email me. Just, I mean, yeah, contacting you, I will email you. Just kind of breeze through here. Okay, and oh, sorry, Jolene, honey. Hold on, I'm gonna put you on mute while she shuts up. If she comes in, I'll introduce you to her too. Sorry, she's really she's a guard dog, so she's guarding things right now. So actually this is easier to see. Oh, shoot. Oh no, I hate it when this happens. Let me, okay, there we go. Sorry, I'll fix that before I post it online. So if this is the easiest way to kind of see the makeup of the course here. Yeah, basically 3 components. You got to do a syllabus quiz. You can do that this week. You need to do it this week. It's 10 questions, and it should be pretty easy if you just read the syllabus, and then the only caveat is in order to get all like full credit, I want you to answer all the questions right. So just take that quiz as many times as it takes for you to like understand the syllabus. Okay. The other thing is every week I'm going to have these weekly reflection questions. This week I don't. I just want you to do I mean, it is a reflection, but I just want you to do a discussion board post, and that'll be the reflection question for this week if you respond to that prompt. But normally it's not going to be on a discussion board. They're going to be prompts like that you get as like a test in eCampus. Like sometimes it'll be closed-ended questions, but a lot of times it'll just be open-ended questions where I ask you to like comment on something that's in the readings or think about how they apply to you, those types of things. Sometimes it'll be graded on accuracy. Sometimes the grade will just be based on sort of like how thorough you explain whatever I'm asking you to do. But I'll give you hints for that. So every week, I mean, this is to sort of encourage you to keep up with your readings and to help you process them and to help me understand how well you're processing them. So you will have one of these assigned to each for each week that we have like some new content. That said, you'll notice, okay, they're worth 100 points, but if you actually go and you count, like I have over here, like reflection question due, I mean, it's kind of like a given, just get, There's actually 12 opportunities for you to get points. So what that means is like if you do 12, you've done two more than you needed to do. In that case, I'll just drop your lowest grade. So I would, if you want to do all 12 reflections, I think that would be great. On the other hand, let's say you just have a week where you're like, I cannot with this weird computer mediated communication identity stuff. Like, I need a break. I'm not going to do the reflection questions, too much reflection. It's not going to hurt you. Like, you will get like a 0 for the week, but it's not going to matter because I'll just drop your lowest grade. So you can kind of look at that as like two freebies if you want of reflection questions. That's to give you a little leeway. That said, if you, I'm not going to take late reflection questions. If you like forget to do it or can't do it for some reason, that'll just be one of your freebies, you know, like just let it go. It'll be fine. You can reflect on your own. We'll all get through it. So that's how the reflection questions work. And you can see it's almost like 50% of your grade. So if you're trying to get a sense of sort of like what I'm trying to prioritize in class, like that's a big part of it. The other big part of it are what I call integration papers. And, you know, remember I told you color coded, you can see we've got 3 units here, yellow unit, peach unit, and blue unit. And at the end of each, there's an integration paper due. And I will have details. This is another thing I'm still like finishing, like putting the finishing touches on. I'm still updating the specific details of the assignment for that, but basically I'm picturing short papers. I'm talking like 5-page response papers where you do these different things. The first one will be writing about your professional identity narrative. And don't worry, we'll talk about what that is. The second one is an influencer branding analysis. You're going to have to find an influencer or celebrity. Oh, sorry. You're going to, hold on. Okay, well, um, the second, second paper is going to be this influencer branding analysis where you're going to have to pick some influencer, and we can talk about who counts as an influencer. I'd rather you not pick your kids and stuff. People have done that in the past, and I'm kind of like, even if they are, I don't know. It's like one of these things where it's like every time you teach a class, you're like, ooh, I'm going to tell people not to do that next time. And I was like, that's one of the things. So it's going to have to be like somebody who a lot of people would consider an influence and not just, you know, moms and dads, which is unfair because to be fair, so I know some of your kids are like really good at this stuff, but still, you'll pick an influencer and you're going to apply concepts in the course, hence the integration to, you know, explain, you know, sort of your opinions and analysis of their social media presence. And then finally, you know, the piece de la resistance is this self-branding audit or strategy. You can do whatever you want. You can either sort of take some of the stuff we've been talking about in class and apply it to what you're already doing, or you can make this more aspirational and think about if you were to come up with a self-branding strategy to meet your personal and professional goals, what would it look like? And what are some things that you can integrate from the course to sort of explain that? So again, and all of these, like, it's not like there's one final paper. All of these are weighted equally. They're all worth 30 points, which again, you know, adds up to almost, you know, 50% of your course grade. So that's really like the major components. It's like mostly reflections each week and then 3 different papers that you complete. And you can see during the weeks that you're submitting those papers, I tried to give you a little bit of extra space to work on them and you don't have new content or anything like that. So, okay, so that is the basis of your grade there. And then there are these course policies that you can pretty much, I don't think there's a whole lot I want to point out. I mean, I did your syllabus quiz and I will say like one of the questions on there is like, are you allowed to use AI in this class? And I mean, the answer is like, it's not how I worded the question, but the answer is like, yeah, use AI. I used AI to get ideas for readings, you know, on this stuff. So you can use AI too. Just don't like have, you know, chat GPT like write your papers for you. Like, don't plagiarize. I mean, I think bottom line is I think most of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but please, I don't mean to minimize it either. If you have any questions about Any of these policies, any of things I've said about the flow of the class or the assignments or anything, just let me know. But again, also keep in mind that like things might come into better view once I have more things posted to eCampus, which I'll keep doing this first week of class. But in the meantime, so what you need to do this week, and here we can use this handy dandy syllabus thing. You'll see you have that syllabus quiz due that I told you about, and that's on eCampus. Please complete that before Sunday. All of the assignments in this class are due on Sundays. And then your first reflection question, as I mentioned, is going to be something on the discussion board. You don't even have to respond to other people's discussion board posts. I did want it to be public so that we kind of can see who else is in the class, but I'm not. It was like, I think I said on the discussion board itself, it's like, I'm not really in the mood to force interaction in this class this time at all. So, but please feel free to engage with each other if you want. But all I need from you this week is I just want to hear your response when I'm like, hey, tell me about your professional identity. Interpret that however you want and just explain it to me. I left you an example of what I think it is, but you don't have to follow my example at all. It was just more of like a way for you to get to know me a little bit if you don't already. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Enough of the syllabus rambling. I genuinely am looking forward to this semester. Like I'm excited about the new stuff in here and the things that I'm going to learn through having us reflect on these different ideas that other people have written. Because again, yeah, I really didn't like how I had the class before, but I feel good about this one. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. I wish you the best of luck this semester, and please don't be a stranger if you need to reach out for some actual synchronous communication. I'm around. So, all right. Have a great first week of school, everyone. Bye.